Zero Pucks Given in partnership with the Hockey Art Co. We present Solent Devils D-Man, Joe Llewellyn. How you doing, fella?
I'm not too bad. How's yourself?
I'm very well. Probably not as well as you, though. Massive 4-point weekend for the Devils.
Yes, it was huge getting a big win over Chelmsford, and then obviously going to MK and getting a nice little ego boost there was quite nice.
Yeah. I mean, I love the videos that Alex posts on his Instagram of the room after you guys win. I bet it was especially Saturday night. I bet it was bouncing.
Oh, it was electric, honestly. Like, Coley's such a good guy. Like, he does bring a lot of kind of hype and pump to the room. It's brilliant.
Yeah, because you've got quite a sort of a broad like range of ages and experience across the team. But I suppose that does it quite good, doesn't it?
It's nice because we've got like the experience and all that of Drew, Muzz, like the older guys, and then we've got the new guys, the young guys like myself, Kane, Coleman. He's quite young as well, so it's a nice little balance.
Mm. Yeah, I think I actually only found out, I think yesterday, Drew's actually the oldest player in the NIHL.
I think he might be. He's an old boy. He is an
Yeah,
old boy.
he got his 300th game up for Solent this weekend, and now we've all outed him as the oldest guy in the NIHL.
We all thought he played so much more games than he had.
Probably a little bit of time off with injury. As you start getting older, it starts taking longer to recover from stuff.
Oh, exactly. The messages he sent into the group chat on a Monday morning after a doubleheader weekend is hilarious.
barely sort of like lift their hand up to type on the phone type thing.
Yeah, poor guy. Well, arthritis and everything.
So, yeah, it's your first season down in Solent, so you're finding it okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that down in Solent. It's weird because Solent's one of those teams that everybody hates, but then as soon as you join them, it's just like you don't understand why everybody hates them.
No, it's just the rink, I suppose, isn't it? I think not. I can't think of one player who says it's their favourite rink who's probably not a Solent player.
Yeah, you'd find it hard to find somebody that says Solent's their favourite rink.
Yeah, but I suppose if it's your home, you learn to love it.
It's completely different from obviously training there in the summer and now obviously playing there. It's you feel about it a lot differently than as an away player, 100%.
No, I did hear from I spoke to a few of the Chieftains lads Sunday night that obviously the surface is never perfect down there, but it was a bit wet on Saturday night.
It was a bit wet and it got kind of chopped up very easily, which was a little bit unfortunate, but I think it worked in our favour a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said to Muzza, like you should never lose a home game really, because that place is such a weapon for you.
It is, but the only problem is it's a weapon for us and also a weapon against us sometimes.
Mm. But and as well, I mean, a big guy like you probably 2-3 strides and you're full length.
Pretty much, like it's nice to go from net front to corners. I get there in about 3 seconds. It's perfect.
I mean, I think that's where I spoke to Bailey Chittock last year when he was at Chelmsford. He actually said he enjoyed Solent because it was the least he had to move.
Oh, it's perfect. After playing in Solent on Saturday and then going all the way to MK, where it's a massive ice pad, was horrible.
I think that's probably the smallest and the largest in our league, isn't it? So to go from one to the other like that.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
So let's go back to sort of where you started then, because as I said, I mean, I know you're sort of into your personal training, a bit of weightlifting as well. So you're a big athletic lad. So you probably had a fair bit of choice when it comes to which sport to play. So what made you settle on ice hockey?
Oh, God, that's going back years now. I went
going back years. You're only 21. You're half my age.
Oh yeah, but I started playing. I was what 9. God, that's ages ago now. Testing my memory. I went public skating with a couple of friends, and I remember absolutely hating it, like holding onto the barrier and not wanting to let go at all. And then the same evening, we went and watched a Wildcats game, and just kind of like fell in love with it from there. And then me and my older brother, we went down to Oxford to start.
And that was your start, was it?
Yeah, we went to Oxford. I think I joined under 10s, he joined under 12s, and then that was it. Been kind of playing ever since.
Has it always been D for you, or did you fancy a little bit of goal scoring every now and again?
I've played a little bit everywhere. When I was young, I played goalie originally. So I started as D-man, then I went in goal. Yeah. Then I played a little bit of forward, but then once I got a little bit older, I kind of just settled onto D, because the size, the reach, everything just kind of helped me out.
Yeah. And I know when people will look at players in the Britain division and they'll look down their elite prospects and sort of see where they've been, because there's a lot that sort of float around certain areas of clubs. You've got the hope I'm going to pronounce it right. The Okanagan Hockey Academy.
Yeah, so the Okanagan Hockey Academy.
Okanagan, there we go. So what's that all about?
So that was a amazing setup. I joined when Ryan Aldridge was the head coach, but me and my family have been a part of it since it started. We housed a couple of the kids that were on the first team. It was like this professional kind of elite setup. You know, you train every morning, go to the gym every evening. They do all the schooling, buses, everything. It's great.
So is that kind of like a hockey camp for kids to come here and do?
Yeah, so not necessarily a camp. We were a team in the league and everything like that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, started 2012. I think it started. But yeah, so kids would move from all over the country to come and play with us, and then we'd get put up in houses and things like that. I'm quite lucky, obviously. My parents live in Swindon, so I was nice and close.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's a little bit on there in Sweden.
Yeah.
Did you have a little session out there?
Yeah. So after I finished my last season of OHA, and I was talking to Aaron now about whether to go to play for him in the Cats or go across to Sweden. And I settled on Sweden because I wanted to play a little bit more kind of junior hockey and experience a little bit of a different lifestyle.
Yeah. How was that over there?
Oh, it's by far the best time of my life.
Yeah,
living
I know
over there.
Darcy Flanagan spoke very highly of it when he was on here.
Yeah. So I was over there in the J20 Div 1, and then I got the chance to train with the Hockey Etan team, which was, again, amazing. Those guys are just a different level. Made me look like a 12-year-old girl. But yeah, it was amazing. I was over there with another English goalie from up north. His name was Will Bray. Me and him had a great time. It was nice to have another kind of English guy there.
Yeah, because I suppose, I mean, one, surely it's got to be a language barrier, but the just the general lifestyle, I suppose, if you're just kind of there on your own.
Yeah, so we were there on our own. It used to be train in the morning, like before the other kids went to school, and then I'd go back to my apartment, go get food. I would go over to the school over there and for 1 hour a day and learn Swedish.
Was it
And then
COVID that brought that to an end?
we train in the evening, and that would be it.
Was it COVID that brought that to an end?
Month. Yeah. So I came back for Christmas, and then when I wanted to go back, Sweden had shut all their borders. So it was just, it was unfortunate timing.
Yeah. What did you do during that downtime?
What, the COVID time?
Yeah.
Not much. A lot of kind of training and gym work, really.
Is that where your love for it came from? Having that bit of time to do it and focus on it?
No, my love for it came from when I played in OHA. We had a PT called Pierre, a gym called Battleground in Swindon, and he was a hard ass. He used to abuse us in the best way possible every kind of Tuesday, Wednesday morning. Yeah. I think I was probably the only person in the team that enjoyed it. So after that, then that's kind of where my love for exercise, workout, and kind of PTing came from.
Yeah, I've always said to anybody, because going in the gym is hard. It is hard. Mm-hmm. But if you're lucky enough to enjoy it, it becomes a little bit easier. And then it's the diet that's hard.
Oh yeah, training is amazing. Diet sucks.
But what would your let's take a game day for you. How does your game day look then, with training and eating and preparing yourself?
It kind of depends what time the game is. If it's a home game in Solent, we usually start around 5. So I'll wake up, I'll go to work in the morning because I have 2 clients from 9 till 11. And then I'll eat after that. I usually kind of have a big lunch. Usually, at the moment, it's been Mexican food, so like burritos and things like that. And then I'll get myself all suited and booted and drive down to the game. But apart from that, I won't eat.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like feeling the latest I'll eat is like 5 hours before the game. Otherwise, I feel like super heavy and bloated, and it's just, I feel like I play kind of slow.
Well, are we going on the speed of it? We all know that that's the main difference really between like the Britain division and up to the national division. You were with Bristol still when they made that transition. And I know you kind of went half and half with Oxford City Stars in their first season. But how did you find that
Yeah.
change? Did the club change its ethos? Did it become sort of more professional as it stepped up?
I think it tried to be. I think they tried to push a lot more of the professionalism, and it worked for some guys. Some guys it didn't, but I enjoyed it. I thought the step up to the National League was great. I think it's what the club needed. It's just a little bit disappointing that they haven't performed at that level.
I mean, I think from a lot of the guys I've spoken to that are now playing in the Britain that have come down from the National, they say it's almost like the level of commitment is a little bit too much for what they're able to give.
Yeah.
Where the Britain can be a bit more flexible.
Yeah. The problem with the National is they train 2-3 times a week, games both weekends, and long away days. You have to have a job on the side as well, and most guys just kind of can't commit to that with the money that the National League teams pay them.
Yeah,
which it does suck because a lot of young British talent, especially, gets lost in that kind of NIHL one because they have to make money to live, but then they also want to play hockey as a career. So
yeah, I think it's kind of floating in that really uncomfortable balance, isn't it? Where the money isn't quite there to offer enough for it to be their job. And I know it was a criticism actually of the Belfast Giants because they took Petr Cech over there as injury cover. And I think a lot of UK hockey fans kicked off and said, well, look at all these British netties that we've got in the National and the National One. Why couldn't you have given them that opportunity? But then I think a few people did kind of point out, well, he is able to just drop life for 2-3 weeks and go and move over there.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking because me and one of the Oxford players, Aaron Moody, we lived together.
Yeah.
So I was speaking to him about it, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, no one else can just kind of drop everything and just be like, okay, I'm gonna go play Elite League for a couple of weeks and it'd be all good."
Yeah, because you literally say you got to go to work.
Yeah, like people can't take 3 weeks holiday in a row and then still have a job waiting for them.
Yeah, I think they got some. I think the stick was unfair they got for that because but that's then finding the balance, isn't it, of having to earn enough money to live, and it's not a cheap sport either. If you start needing to replace your equipment and stuff.
Exactly. If you're in an unfortunate position where you don't have sponsors or a team that's willing to pay for your kit, it can be a deep hole. Because it's expensive stuff.
Have you been lucky enough to have any sort of sponsorship or deals to sort of help you out?
Yeah, so I'm quite fortunate in the fact that I kind of haven't had to pay for much equipment since OHA. So I've been quite fortunate with companies that my parents' company kind of helped me out a little bit as well, which is quite nice. But then teams and other sponsors have also done their bit, which is real good.
Yeah, excellent stuff. What's the obviously with you traveling around your area, Solent's a little bit sort of out of the way, isn't it, from where you've been playing Swindon, Oxford, and Bristol in that that M4 corridor?
Yeah, it all changed because obviously I was speaking to obviously Simon that in the summer, and we couldn't obviously come to an agreement. So I reached out to Muzz, and he said he was happy to have me, which worked out perfectly because I took a new job in Newbury. So I stay in Newbury most nights of the week, and I travel down Solent. It's about 40-50 minutes from Newbury. Yeah. So it's not too...
Newbury's kind of halfway in between, isn't it? So that's not a little bad place to be. But as we're on Oxford, there was a massive bit of news earlier this year that was after you and Darcy Flanagan had a little altercation.
Me and Darcy.
And as we all know, Darcy ended up with a 10-game ban. No one could quite fathom why. It all exploded. And one part of it was that came out. Shane Moore was on with Nicky Watt on 4,000 and Counting. Did some brilliant episodes regarding the DOPS. And Shane said that you actually contacted the EIHA yourself to sort of fight Darcy's corner.
Yeah. So I thought the ban originally was a bit ridiculous. I thought, if it would have been even 5 games, you would have questioned it, but you wouldn't have outraged. Because from the video, you can obviously see what it looks like, but also he hits me in the chest. And his hands ride up afterwards, which is, it's not the first point of contact. But so I reached out to the IHA. Shane did call me. He asked kind of what I thought and what the true story was that actually happened. And I told him, and he asked if I wouldn't mind putting that in an email to the head of DOPS. I can't remember his name. Mike something, wasn't it?
Mike Maidens. It was.
Mike Maidens, yeah.
He's since resigned.
Yes, which I think was a rather wise decision.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I literally just this evening, I've received contact from the IHA that they're moving in new, exciting directions and have some new strategies lined up. They've got some very experienced people in the right places. Later this week, I'll be speaking with Pete Wynn, who's just become the coaching general manager.
Yeah, I did see that Pete Wynn had got in that role, which I'm quite excited about. I think Pete's a good guy.
Yeah, I think certainly getting experienced people within the internal roles of the organisation will certainly help it. But I mean, do correct me if I'm wrong. Am I led to believe they threatened with charging you with bringing the game into disrepute for contacting them
Yeah,
regarding the incident?
they did mention something about it, but never to me directly. I
Oh,
think it all,
really?
yeah. So I never got direct like information about that. I heard it through Shane and through the 4,000 accounting, the same as everyone else did, which I was kind of shocked about. I thought that if they're going to bring charges against me, I'd at least like to know from them myself.
Yeah,
But
that's really quite strange, isn't it?
it is, yeah. I've received maybe 3 or 4 emails between myself and Mike, and that was it. Nothing about charges or bringing the game into dispute or anything like that.
No, and but I mean, Darcy told me that these two of you have now you've spoken as well,
Yeah, yeah.
over message and whatnot. Do you think that I think that ding dong probably needs revisiting, doesn't it, at some point?
Um, Probably, yeah. Like we spoke on messages, and he kind of thanked me for what I was my part in it, and I just kind of said, boys are here to play hockey. It's a short season, and if someone's got 10 games, that's a third of their season gone.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. And
he's
when
a
it's an
young guy.
import, yeah, when
Yeah,
it's an import, they're going to look at it. Other Aussie guys. I mean, I think he did speak to Sander Wardlaw, who was at Oxford
yeah,
the year that you were there. If other Aussie guys say to Darcy Flanagan, "Oh, should I go and play in England?" He's going to say no. You get banned for like a third of the season for doing nothing.
exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought it was. It's not fair for those guys to travel halfway around the world and then only play 2/3 of the season, like
Yeah,
for
no,
something that's not deserved.
no. Well, I mean, everyone, myself included, I know Nicky at 4,000 and counting, and Shane just thought that showed the mark of the man that you are, and thought that was an incredibly magnanimous thing to do.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's just the right thing to do. Like I've I've got no kind of begrudges against him whatsoever.
No. Do you think that hockey probably falls under the same banner, doesn't it, as rugby, of the hooligan sport played by gentlemen?
Yeah, yeah. It's a thugs game played by gentlemen.
Yeah. From your experience in it, more thugs or more gentlemen?
Depends who you're playing. Certain teams, typically ones in the top of our table at the moment, are rather thug-like, whereas everyone else is usually pretty good.
Do you think
But then,
that's do you think that's like it's like an element that's needed, isn't it, to actually to win things?
yeah, you've got to have that edge. You've got to have that toughness. And some teams in the league, they've got that age on their side where the game was different when those guys were playing in higher leagues. And they've kind of carried on that play into the modern game, which, it is what it is.
Mm.
We've got to deal with it. We've got to find the best way around it.
And I mean that's going actually sort of quite well. Solent season, because you didn't have a 2-game weekend for weeks on end.
Oh, God,
So
yeah. It was hard.
you seem to struggle to get any rhythm going.
Yeah. We always speak about getting the train moving. And when you have 1 game weekends, it's pretty much impossible because if you lose one, you don't have a chance to rectify it until the following
No.
week.
No, and as you said, after getting the result against Chelmsford Saturday, and then I mean, you can never say, "Oh, the going to Milton Keynes is just going to win easy," because in all fact, I mean, you could turn up there and they could have 5 of the Lightning guys in there, and it can make it quite hard for you.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, so to go there though on the back of a great victory with a bit of confidence, that probably sort of did you guys quite well.
I think so massively because we were riding so high after that Chelmsford win because obviously we dropped 2 to Chelmsford and it was important for us to at least take a couple points off them out of the 4 games we play.
Mm.
And then going
Yeah,
into Milton Keynes, it was, yeah, we just kind of needed to steamroll through them and keep the ego going.
yeah. Well, you had Chelmsford's number last year. I think you won all 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it was good.
but yeah, I think the cup is still there for you as well, isn't it? I think the cup semi-final, there's one place left. I think it's going to be
Yeah,
between yourselves and Invicta.
yeah, I think so too. I think we've got to take whenever we next play Invicta, we've got to take that game, and then we've got to take the cup game as well,
Mm.
because we've got to get some kind of silverware this year.
I was going to say, is that the aim this year? Because it was. I mean, obviously they made the playoff finals last year, and after speaking to Muzzer, I know they were upset because they just didn't really turn up at least for the first 30 seconds of it, and then found it almost beyond their reach.
Yeah, from what I heard about the finals last year was, it was just kind of not turning up or turning up too late.
Hmm.
And this year, I'm kind of determined for it not to be the case. Like, just me personally, I want to get to the playoff finals and I want to win some silverware at the Final Four weekend.
Well, were you in the Bristol team from the Chelmsford semi-final the year before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so going out that way has got to put a bit of fire in the belly, hasn't it?
It does. It does. That weekend was mortifying to come back like we did and then not actually get the win. It was horrible. Yeah, that one really stung for at least the whole of the next season.
Yeah. Well, obviously I'm a Chelmsford fan. I saw it slightly differently, but
yeah, I know you did.
But no, just incredible drama. And then we had it in the following year as well with the Slough Invicta semi-final. That was just it was virtually identical. The way it went down, it was crazy. But yeah, that second semi-final at the playoffs, it seems to have some sort of curse over it. But
it does. It just seems to be ridiculously close.
So a lot of the guys that are playing are into golf. Are you into golf at all?
I am a big golfer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't help. Yeah, I'm handicapped. I play off of, God, on a good day, probably like 10. On a bad day, could be like 18, 19, 20.
Depend where you're playing and what the weather's like.
Yeah, pretty much. My brother's a professional golfer, so he kind of helps out as well.
Excellent stuff. That does always help. Always help. As I say, I need to actually desperately find out. Yeah, I need to desperately find out when the playoff finals actually is this week, because I'm booked on a golf weekend on the 12th of April, and if that clashes, I'm going to be really upset.
That's poor timing right there.
Oh, it is. It is. When I was told about it, I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. That sounds like playoff time. I'm not sure."
Which one are you cancelling, the playoff weekend or the golf trip?
Oh, it depends who's listening. Is that no? I've stepped in for a mate on like a Ryder Cup style competition between like 24 blokes.
Oh, Jesus!
It sounds like it's a 3-day. I think it sounds like a 3-day bender with playing golf in the middle of it. So I don't think I can handle that. The playoffs nearly killed me last year.
I was going to say, 3 days is too much for me. I managed 2 days at the playoff weekend back in Bristol, but God, that's too much.
Yeah.
And I'm too old for that.
I'm really old now. I can't recover from anything anymore. So, but you said obviously like silverware then is the main aim for Solent for this year. Personally, have you got sort of any ambitions for the rest of the season?
I'm not really kind of personally motivated. I'd rather have a kind of mediocre season myself, but the team do well, than have a great season, but the team suck.
Yeah.
I'm very much kind of like that. I don't really care how I play as long as the team does well.
Yeah, team guy. That's a great mantra.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Well, this has been all about you, and it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me, mate. I've really enjoyed chatting and talking your hockey career. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the season with Solent, and I will catch up with you at some point in the future.
Thank you very much.
Good man. Big Joe Llewellyn. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers.